around 15 to 20 millimeters of rain, and as Matt will tell us, not good for drainage systems for the homes.
Yeah, we've been talking about stats for so long that, I thought, let's go to something that we're going to try to save the value in the house, and doing that, keep the water out.
It's that time of year. We're seeing a lot of melting. We're seeing a lot of ice jams too, with rivers and waterways.
And that's what's happening a bit. We're seeing, we had this ice storm earlier in the year, and then we had that snow insulated. So all the snow's gone, but we have these ice damming things that are happening and directing water in places they haven't been before. So we have to look and see, how do we keep that out of the basements and away from the houses? And it's a major, the ground is saturated. So basically any rain that we see, we have to look at it and say, where can we get it to go, and get it to go to the storm sewers, or you live in the country, want it to go out to the drainage ditch or out into the field?
Yeah, it could be an iffy time of year when we talk about drainage. Let's look at some pictures here, Matt.
So this is a perforated O pipe that you can actually put down in your lawn that's close to the house, and what that is stone that is down in this ditch, and it'll allow the water to feed into it and basically drain out to wherever you need it to go. This is an O pipe that they put around the house with crushed stone, and they've got a felt around it so that it doesn't cave in or get dirt in it. And basically any water that comes down the side of the house goes into this perforated O pipe and then goes out to wherever you're directing that water away from your house.
And you can do something as well when building a home. Keep in mind the landscape around the home, and there's actually a term for this.
Yeah, so it's called a swale, and what we see is basically, if you have a hill that's backing onto your home, you don't want that hill to continue down, because rain and snow, and when it melts, it'll come down into the back of your house and sit there. So what they do is they build this ditch, and it goes out and around, and it swales out and around, and I'm sure that if you had a friend or your house is like this, they probably graded it that way when it was built, so that your lawn kind of goes away from the house like a turtle's back, and then kind of drains out and around, and then it goes down to the front of the ditch, and it's gone.
Almost like a natural approach
to
drainage.
Yeah, just keep it away. So if they can keep it away by 10 to 15 feet away from the house, and it continues in a direction, it won't just sit there and saturate.
I'm also hearing too, there's to let people know around their homes to, if there is any kind of blockage of the sewers, clear that blockage away.
Eaves trough, the downspouts, make sure that that's getting away from the house. Any drainage, that's a big thing. So this is exactly what we're looking at. What happens is people take the downspouts off to sometimes cut their lawns, and then they forget to put them back on. And that's a general thing. Somebody says, oh, I took it off because I wanted to cut the lawn. And then what you see is this short downspout, it's pouring directly beside the house, and it's continuing straight down.
Not good.
Not good, and this is what you end up with. This is a sump pump in the basement with a battery backup. I mean, so they have this system is showing two different systems, because one is plugged into the wall and one has a battery backup that if the power fails, and it's sometime in the early spring where there's a lot of wind, there's a lot of rain, you want to make sure that anything that's coming in through that O pipe is going in there, and that it can get out, because that is a mechanical piece in your house, and you want to make sure it's taken care of.
Is this a seasonal issue we find after the winter as we head into spring in a rainy April?
We find that some houses have a continuous thing, just depending on the actual water in the area and the water table. But I would say on a normal basis, it's spring and fall.
Okay, and especially if maybe you're out in the country. There's
not necessarily. Like, what we see is that we just did a renovation on our house, and when you dig down, most of Kingston's sitting on about 4 feet of topsoil, and then it's limestone. So the water goes down, and then it has to go somewhere. So it just continues across the top of that limestone, and it literally looks like you've poured a piece of concrete. It is so flat, and it is. And the water will just track. So you got to make sure that we're digging these holes and blasting in these areas, so the water kind of goes down and through and back up, and you want to make sure that the drainage is done properly to keep it away from those houses.
And a basement gets flooded, you're looking at how much to dry that out and damage?
Yeah, you're looking at certain companies will have to come in and remove the drywall and the insulation to make sure that all of that mold doesn't start, because the longer it sits there, the more mold could start. And then after that, you're looking at replacing it. And then you're looking at, how do we prevent this from happening before? I mean, it is a big job, because they want to make sure they have to wear certain stuff for the mold removal.
Well, it's all about preventative measures. We
That's
thank
right.
you so much. As always, some excellent advice, Matt Lee.
Thanks.
Real Estate Tips, brought to you by Matt Lee of Royal LePage.